Chronicles, Stories of the Supernatural. And I've put together a follow up to an investigation that we had in our home this last weekend. We released a short video, a live stream during the weekend of we were filming inside our house. It was really short, and basically, um, what it is we have a haunted object, which is a haunted car. If you ever saw us on Paranormal Survivors, we talk about that. Anyway, we did that short live stream during this past weekend, and now I'm gonna do I put something together, which is a vlogging that we did during the daytime when we were preparing for the investigation. Which, by the way, if you look us up on Twitter, Miami Ghost Chronicles on Twitter or Facebook, we also released something there where during the daytime it shows shots of our property, just to give you a better idea, because what you're going to look at now was after dark. It was at 3 a.m. So obviously you can't see, and the lighting is non-existent. So you're not going to be able to see it. But anyway, if you have a chance to see that video, we have one each on Twitter and on Facebook. But anyway, this video is what happened after we released the live stream from inside our home. Okay, uh, where we went out. This was about 3 a.m. and we went out on our porch and then to the property, 'cause we have a larger property. Because like I said, the phenomena we have been witnessing all along is not only centered around this vehicle, it's kind of spread out. And we said, okay, let's do a walkthrough, especially in those at that time, so that we could see if we were lucky enough to capture something. And I do mention in the videos, the lighting was poor because there was no lighting. We barely had enough light just to even film out there because it was pitch black. Uh, we had maybe a little bit of ambient lighting once we were over to the side, but that's it. And also the audio, and I apologize for that, but it was really windy. And even though I had a good microphone, if I wasn't at the right angle, you kind of lost a little bit of what I was saying. It was like it kind of went away. So I'm sorry about that. Basically, we walk out there and I tell you a little bit about the history of what's happening, of what's going on. I'm still reviewing a lot of the tapes that we collected as far as for any EVPs. And you'll see that I mentioned that during the live stream, um, Henry thought he had heard something upstairs. Okay, and also one of the times because purposely we had left our windows open so that we wouldn't shut out any noise from outside. And he thought he again saw something on our porch. And then one of the times when we were out walking in the field, as I was swinging my head around, I saw something walk across. Which, by the way, when you can track a shadow in near kind of semi-darkness, that tells you that that object was darker than dark. So I kind of saw track something going from left to right, like maybe 20 feet away from us. And like I said, unfortunately, because of our lighting, it wasn't that good. I don't think we didn't capture it on video. I looked at it, but like I said, I'm still working on the audio portions of the things that we're going through. And anybody that's done this work that doesn't have a battalion of people working it knows that it's time consuming when you got to listen there and kind of dissect what you're listening to. Was that just normal stuff? And you'll see as I'm doing the walkthrough, I kind of like say, oh hey, that's my neighbor's wind chimes, because I know that. But and I'm going to stay here up front what I say during the video for any of my viewers. If you saw something, if you think you hear something, if you sense something, because please comment and let us know, because uh, I absolutely believe that there's just some people that for whatever reason they can just pick up on things, whether it's visually, with their hearing, or even sensory. About when we did the walkthrough around the whole property in the dark, that could help us, because again, I explained the video, but I want to say it here up front. Part of our intent was to basically identify. I mean, we've been told, or we've gotten a description of what the entity is, But what we're looking for at this point is to gain some type of identification, possibly even to name something more concrete so that we could work on getting it out of here. And you'll have a lot of people that work in the paranormal field who will say once you know the name of something or the name of someone, it gives you a certain type of power to confront it, to expel it, to put it where it's supposed to go, because it's almost like that's the key when you're working with an entity that you just can't quite get it to do what you want to do with it. Okay, and that's what we were hoping for. We were hoping either, of course, besides the fact of catching it on video or audio, getting it to something that we could get some type of identification on it. So anyway, I'll be coming on like a couple of my times, like my intermission, and I'll speak to you a little bit about what you saw. Like I said, the first part here is my vlogging during the day, because things happen not only in paranormal investigations, but when you're preparing for them. And anybody who's ever done paranormal investigations will tell you that things start happening sometimes days, sometimes hours, sometimes days, sometimes even before they know that they're going to be called in to do some type of paranormal work. Things start happening, but of course you're not prepared to capture it. But that's kind of part of what happens when you work in this field. The way we measure time is not the same way as they do in the spirit world. And sometimes they're ahead of the curve on us, you know, knowing things and coming and visiting with the people that are going to either go there or something like that. So that's the purpose of the personal vlog, and you're going to see some things happened. Some things happened. Okay. And I hope you enjoy it. I'll be coming back and, setting up the second part. And again, I apologize that some of the stuff is hard, but when you're working on outside, nature doesn't care, that you're trying to record a video. It doesn't care. It just like throws you under the bus. But again, let me know what you think. Enjoy. It was a super, super interesting night. Exhausting, but very interesting.
Henry from Miami Ghost Chronicles, and we're going to be doing this vlogging piece because tonight we're doing an overnight challenge investigation at our home. As a matter of fact, we already posted it up on Twitter and on Facebook, on our Facebook and Twitter pages, because 2 years ago we were on season 1, episode 1 of Paranormal Survivor. I think it airs now on Destination America, and the title piece for the whole episode was Haunted Objects, and we appeared there because we still have a haunted Camaro IROC, okay? And if you haven't seen the video, you can go to our YouTube channel, Miami Ghost Chronicles, and we have a clip of that there. And basically, we've tried to get it working. We got the car working. We moved it from the front, back to the front of the house, and now all of a sudden it stopped. So we've decided we need to capture some evidence of who or what is doing this to the car. Plus the fact that especially now it ramped up again after we moved it to the front, where we're seeing strange shadows, hearing strange noises, our animals are acting up. I mean, after a while, what are the regular noises and things that you hear at your house? And same thing with your animals. Out here, it's very rural. Okay, there's a lot of space between neighbors, and we can't blame it on the neighbors. In other words, our whole entire property is fenced off, it's gated, which means nobody can come on that property with us knowing about it. So again, we even have a shed out in the back. We're hearing strange noises in there. So tonight, starting at midnight tonight, we are going to try to capture some type of evidence. We're going to pull out all our things as paranormal investigators, our cameras, our recording equipment, even our intuition, to find out once and for all who or what is attached to that vehicle. Even though, in case you haven't seen the Paranormal Survivor, when we did bring out a psychic to basically cleanse or give us feedback, he said that it was a very evil person in life who was attached to that vehicle somehow met his death when he was using that vehicle, and basically that's why he's so attached to it. And well, I mean, your best bet is just to look at that show, just to give you a good point of reference as to that. Yes, fast forward 2 years from then, we're still experiencing problems with it, and we're vlogging about our day, because in our experience as paranormal investigators, once you know that you are going to be doing some type of intervention, okay, things start happening hours before you're actually doing the investigation or the intervention or whatever it is. And so we decided we're going to start doing this vlogging to show and capture anything that happens before the actual official start time. Now we're going to go get something to eat, because we spent kind of the earlier part of the day preparing for everything. Right now it's only 4 p.m. where we're at right now, and we're going to get something to eat, relax a little bit. Also, when we come back, I'm going to give you a little tour around the area so you can see how rural and how separate, how quiet it is, especially at nighttime. My point being that when you hear weird noises, your animals are acting up, usually this breaks the silence. Things that we've heard, we have a second story window on the 100-year-old house, which we'll show you later on. We're gonna film that in daylight so you guys can see it. When we come up on our gate, while we wait for it to open, over our wall, we could see that second story window. And lately we've seen something like crossing back and forth behind that window, in the shadow. That's another thing. Not only are we're gonna be sitting out in the front yard in the back, like again, we're gonna show you exactly where we're gonna be at. We're also gonna see maybe we're gonna capture something in the house. At this point, we just want answers, and hopefully we're gonna catch some proof. And we put out, like I said, on Twitter and Facebook. We're gonna live stream. Plus, eventually, we are going to have this video on our YouTube channel, regardless of what the outcome is. And it's going to include all of this. I'm going to edit it, of course. But it's going to include, because like I said, based on our experience, things start happening long before you start really trying to capture any evidence. As a matter of fact, earlier today, when I was preparing all our cameras, all our recording equipment, I had one of my SD cards, so I was blanking them all out to make sure I have enough space to record everything. It fried. It totally fried. This was a blank SD card. Well, no, I was transferring some stuff. It just crashed and burned. So I have to go out and get another SD card in addition to the ones I have, just to make sure that I have enough, basically storage space for anything that that we're going to record while we're there. So let's see what happens. What do you think, Henry?
Yeah, tonight we're hoping that whatever we see ends all this.
Well, we've seen it. We've seen what it is, especially Henry. We have seen it before, and like I said,
we thought it was over, but it's still
we
here.
know what it looks like, but when it was happening, we never really thought it was just one of those things that we weren't doing a paranormal investigation. We didn't have a camera. We didn't have a recording device. It was just stuff that happened. But now we decided we're gonna take a different approach and see if we can actually get something on there, and maybe with that evidence, maybe we'll get some help, even with our own knowledge, and find a way of maybe getting this entity, even whether it's its name, or even just maybe getting some power over it, so we can finally dislodge it and just
get it to finally leave for good.
For good, okay. And
at the same time, when you guys are there, if you guys are there with us, you might see something we don't.
Yeah, that's another thing. We're hoping that while we're there, 'cause sometimes when you're in the middle of it, you just don't have eyes in the back of your head, that, you guys are going to maybe see something in the background or that we miss. And, we absolutely, if there's anything that anybody sees, because we don't know what the outcome of everything is going to be tonight, that you're going to tell us, hey, I saw something or I heard something in the, because believe me, 2 pairs of eyes, if we can multiply that by a lot, especially if some of you are sensitive, okay? Sometimes sensitive people just pick up on stuff that nobody else sees. It's just this weird thing that even though it's an electronic format, you guys will hear, see, or just get a sense of something that we're missing. Because like I said, we're going to be right in the thick of it, okay?
So you guys just keep your eyes open, look for the littlest thing, and just let us know.
All right, so we'll be turning this back on in a little bit when we drive around, so you can see kind of the area that we're at. As a matter of fact, here we are. I'm going to turn this around here. This is us. We came here now to get something to eat, some little bit of seafood. There's a local restaurant close to where we live at. We're not even getting too far from home.
Getting us some Cuban food.
Yeah, seafood, Cuban food, okay? So, again, guys, we'll see you guys later.
Okay.
Miami Ghost Chronicles. We're going to continue with our vlogging. It's almost 6 p.m. here. Sun is starting to go down. And we're running around doing a couple of errands. While we were out, my son, who had borrowed our pickup truck to take care of some things he needed to do, he went back to the house while we were out. And he called me like, 20 minutes ago, Henry? Something like that?
Yeah, about that.
Called me like 20 minutes ago, and he calls me and says, are you both gone? And I said, yeah, because I had called him. I messaged him. I said, we're going to be stepping out to go eat dinner and run some errands, whatever. And I said, yeah, as a matter of fact, we're still out. And all of a sudden I hear the silence at the other end of the line. He goes, all right, I could tell. And I said, okay, what, spit it out. What's going on? And he says, Mom, I thought I heard like somebody walking upstairs, but I wasn't sure. And I know the big dogs are outside, and the little dogs, they're down here, and I know they don't make that noise. And I was like, okay. I said, don't worry about it. It's just, I kind of but he's already had his experiences from a long time ago. And that's why I could tell when, for him to call me, it was because he knew it was just more than the creaking of wood, because our house is all wood, and like I said, it's 100 years old. So of course, and it's a very windy day also. It's a very windy day, and you get certain creaks and groans and things with wooden structures, and the temperature also is dropping here, so you get all that popping and stuff with expanding wood. We're aware of all of that, so I know, and he does too. So in other words, for him to notice it, this is outside the norm of what you would normally hear, because he's been long enough in that house on other occasions to know, what it is. And he knows that there's a certain creak that you hear from when you're upstairs on the second level. Downstairs, you hear the creak of wood and like a mild thump when somebody's walking upstairs. So we wanted to go ahead and include that in this vlog because, like I said, we know that long before we officially start any investigation, usually things start happening. The thing is, a lot of times, investigators, ourselves included, we don't have recording stuff going on. We don't, later on we tell about it, we talk about it, but we don't have a camera running or anything. So that's why we decided to do this. Anyway, I'm going to turn the camera around as we go home, because I do want you guys to see that where we live at, it's a very agricultural, rural area. A lot of wide open spaces. You'll get some houses, they're set back from the street, hardly any street lights, okay? And a lot of orchards, a lot of it's just land with agricultural growings. And the point I'm trying to make is, out here, especially after dark, it gets really quiet. Where we're situated, we're far from any main roadways.
No traffic, no no lights of any kind. No.
Hardly any lights.
No street lights. Very few traffic lights. The rest of it is pitch black.
Oh, and one thing I did want to say, which I had forgotten to include in my earlier stuff, we have a neighbor next door, and after we started having, and we started seeing things, this guy went and installed, I'm not talking like 2 floodlights, okay? They're
Stadium lights.
So they're like stadium lights that, as a matter of fact, he had to have them professionally installed up on the utility poles, because all our utilities are above ground. One, like, towards the entrance of his house, the entrance of his
about 20, 30
property,
feet up. About 20,
yeah,
30 feet up.
30 feet up, and then another one that lights up the rest
of the property.
And you told me something that, when, you know, we thought, well, that's kind of curious, right? And he said something like, "Well, we go because I saw something. I think I saw somebody," and at that moment we just didn't really put 2 and 2 together. But then we started realizing that there's a chance that whatever we're experiencing is bleeding over into his property. And this guy went ahead and spent the money, because that must have cost him a pretty penny between the equipment and the labor to have these things installed, to light up. And that's, a matter of fact, that's the closest lighting we have, unless we turn on our porch lights. But anyway, I'm going to turn the camera around so you guys can take a look at, you know, what the area is like. It's very pretty. It's very pretty out here, but especially at night. It's very quiet, not desolate, because desolate is not the right word.
Hi, everybody. Okay, that was the vlogging. So, as they say, meanwhile, back at the ranch, okay, we're going to go now into what happened after our live stream. Okay, and again, if you want to get an idea of the property in the daytime, like I said, we did a live stream on both Facebook and Twitter. Okay, that shows exactly, kind of in a way, the area that we filmed now in the following clip coming up. If you want a point of reference, it's just exactly, you know, what we were doing, where it was, because otherwise all you're going to see is just me talking and darkness behind me. So again, sit tight and watch this other part, and then I'll be back with you towards the end. Let's see what you think.
Okay.
Hi everybody, this is Marlene with Miami Ghost Chronicles, and as promised, we're doing an overnight challenge investigation in hopes of capturing some type of evidence of the entity that we found was attached to a muscle car that Henry bought back a few years ago. It's a 1988 Camaro IROC. What was it, Z series?
Z28.
Z28. And you know, if you, I don't know if you've ever seen the Paranormal Survivor episodes. We were on season 1, episode 1 of Haunted Objects. And if you haven't seen it, you can go to our YouTube channel on Miami Ghost Chronicles and see it. As far as the background, what we went through, what was identified attached to the car. But anyway, let's take a look at it. And as we promised, because we decided once and for all, because after we got it fixed, it's worked for a little bit, then broke down, and now it's here in the front. And we're like hoping that if we can identify, get the name of the entity, we might have a better chance of actually going ahead and maybe displacing it, because we just, at this point, we don't think that unless we do something, we step it up. Like, we already had a cleansing done and it didn't work, obviously. So here it is. And you know, earlier we posted on Facebook and on Twitter, you know, that Henry started it up, and of course it tries to turn on, it tries to turn over, and it just doesn't. And believe me, we've had different mechanics look at it. Obviously, it doesn't work. Nothing's working. And it, like I said, we finally got it fixed. It ran for 3 weeks, and now we have it out here in the front. And
It's a really nice car. It's been very well taken care of. Okay, and Henry bought it out in the west coast of Florida from a guy who his brother had been in the military, and we're not really sure if he had passed away or not, or how he had ended up with a car. But anyway, um, in that episode we explained, but I'll go over it really quick, where basically the once we got a psychic out here to look at it. By the way, and this was a person that we had no connection with, because I absolutely insisted on that. This was nobody that knew anything about us or about the car. He kind of said that there was a very violent entity that was attached to his vehicle, and he described it as a guy who was like a biker, always, you know, having problems with the law, and he got killed either in the car or when he was running away in the car, left, you know, like bailed out of the car, something along those lines. Bottom line, this was his attachment, and he was just a very dangerous individual. And because of his personality, because of Henry being ex-law enforcement, it was like the perfect storm of why this entity is so attached to this vehicle and doesn't want to let it go, or have anybody use it or enjoy it. His personality, the circumstances of his death, etc., a bunch of things. So anyway, here we are. Henry, turn around, and even though we published it, you know, we live in a 100-year-old home. As you can tell, we have a wraparound porch. We have French doors, and we've been here basically, and in our living room we've seen shadows dart across the windows, which, by the way, when Henry was living here alone originally, right after he bought the car, that was his first sign, when he saw somebody, what he thought was a really tall guy with long hair, walk across his porch. And he called me. I wasn't here. He called me because he was trying to act calm, but he was really scared of what he had seen, because and I told him, are you sure there's nobody on the property? And let's see, right now, as you can see, we have a gated property. We have a 6-foot high fence, plus it's just you can't get on the property. I mean, well, there's absolutely never, but it's very difficult. So anyway, we've been out here. We were out here earlier trying to see if we could capture anything, whether it was on film, on video, EVPs, anything. And we're gonna do our second go around. We just streamed a live stream on YouTube from inside the house. We heard something from upstairs. That's another thing. Earlier, our son was here. We had stepped out for a little bit, and he called us, and he said that he had heard something upstairs, and he had no idea what was going on, that we were going to do this overnight investigation, or that we had started experiencing things again with the vehicle. Needless to say, he left like really quick. When we called, he goes, "Hey, I'm out of here." He borrowed one of our pickup trucks.
Even when if you watch it, you'll see that even the film, the thing shaked a little bit. It got distorted a little bit.
Yeah.
Because there was stuff going on here.
And luckily, it's kind of a cool night here in South Florida, but on purpose, we kept our windows open, no air conditioning, just to silence it. Now the dogs have quieted down a little bit, but earlier when we were live streaming on YouTube, one of our dogs, she started that yipping stuff. And like I said, the dogs here, after a while, they know what the noises are. They just don't bark unless they sense something or smell an intruder or just something makes them. Otherwise, they don't, because we'd be going crazy. But anyway, we're gonna see if we could do. We're gonna go around the property and see what we could come up with. Okay, because at this point, we're just like we're just hoping that either on purpose or just by sheer chance, we're going to come across some type of evidence. Like I said, because we're hoping, I think that, like, you know, like they say that once you have the identity, the name of a person or something, you have a better chance of basically, for lack of a better word, exercising it, expelling him, getting him out of here, and see if we can enjoy the vehicle. Which, by the way, at the beginning, when Henry got this car, it had really, really low mileage, right, Henry?
Oh, less than 60,000.
Okay, he was surprised at how low the mileage was on the vehicle considering it was a 1988. And later on, now we're wondering if the reason why it has such low mileage is if this vehicle was passed from owner to owner. Okay, and by the way, when he got it, he drove it from the west coast of Florida over here
Port
to
Charlotte.
from Port Charlotte over here with no problem. There was no mechanical problems with this car. And now we were wondering if maybe that low mileage was because prior owners had experienced some type of similar problem with it, whether it was not that it wasn't working, but they felt or saw something in the vehicle, and that's why nobody basically used it. We originally thought that it was because the owner had been away in the military. Maybe it was put away and it wasn't used, but now we're wondering if that's really why it has such low mileage. Anyways, we're coming out here. This is the side of our house. Okay, as you can tell, that's the second story. All right, that's another thing. Let me go back over here. You know, we have a second story window. We have a, like I said, this is an older farmhouse, and you can tell our rooster hears us and thinks it's time to wake up. Anyway, it's a young rooster. Up there, you know, we have a second story window that when we come up and we're waiting for that main gate to open, we sometimes when we're sitting, because we could, if you're sitting especially in the truck, you can see up. We've a couple of times now we've seen something walk back and forth behind that window. So that's another thing. So like I said, this thing is not strictly attached to the vehicle, and which was our experience. It kind of starts gradually leaving just the area of the vehicle and traveling around. Anyway, this is the side of the house. Okay, and I'm not sure, this is one of the bedroom windows from upstairs. I'm not really sure, since we, you know, obviously I haven't been out here and I haven't seen anything in the window, but it's not like that front one that you see it when you're coming up in the car trying to get in there. And let's just see if we come across anything, and let's see if maybe, like I said, we tried doing some EVPs in inside, and some of it right off the bat we didn't hear anything, but a lot of the EVPs, you know, it's when you go back and you listen to them, which we haven't had a chance to do that you realize if you captured anything. So we're hoping that we're going to capture something, and like I said, we'll include it in our YouTube show. Let's see, Henry, let me see, just pan out that way. Okay. Even though our rooster is you know, complaining that you guys woke me up. So no, he's a very young rooster, and he thinks that because he hears our voices that he needs to start crowing. Okay, let's see. Why don't you light up? This is the back area. This is the back entrance to the house. And again, so far, you know, we've got out here, we've got like a nice cool breeze, cold breeze. Always, as South Floridians, it's always cold for us. If it dips below 70. And, you know, that's our chicken coop over there. Okay, why don't we, let's go over here, Henry, and like we said, and that we were going to, we have like a little sitting area. We normally have like a little fire pit here, but we don't have it here right now. And let's see if we hang out here, and if something happens, if we could capture something. And by the way, again, and like I tell everybody, if you see anything, let us know, because like I said, sometimes I've had that happen in paranormal investigation. For some reason, just some people see things. They see shadows, they even hear things, or just they capture stuff in the background that sometimes we miss. You know, it happens. So, you know, if you see or hear anything, let us know. Put, you know, just send us a message on our YouTube, attached to this video. But definitely, we're going to be following up on that. You know, and if you think we should do a follow up, hopefully this will, once we review all the material that we've gathered, because tonight we have heard a couple of things, especially upstairs. We've seen a couple of things. Henry earlier during the live stream thought he saw something out on the porch, and we're hoping that we're going to come up with. But let us know if you think we need to redo this and maybe like get this thing to manifest, and so that we could like finally make it communicate, have it communicate, like I said, and we can get some type of maybe reason. I don't know. We're at this point we're open to all suggestions, and like I said, even though part of us we're very careful because what that psychic told us and our own understanding as a paranormal investigators is that this is a malevolent entity. It's a human entity, but like he described that this person when he was alive was really dangerous and violent, and he said you have to be really, really careful. He says you have to this is an entity that's going to really resist going into the light. This person was a person of darkness and when they were alive. So, we always take that into consideration. We're still trying to get our car to start. So be careful. Be careful, honey. So we have a little bit of ambient lighting here. And as you can tell, our property stretches all the way back there. And we have a grove up there, which, by the way, we're going to include in this video during the daytime. We, on purpose, we took a video during the daytime so people could see that we have that grove of trees. And, that sometimes we have seen things there. And then later on, we're going to go over to the shed. That's another place every once in a while. We've been out in the, but you can't see it from here. But we've been out in the back of our, our carport, because we have the laundry. There goes our rooster. We've been doing laundry out in the back, and you can tell this is really quiet. There's nothing out here. Everybody's asleep. The neighbors are far apart. There's a lot of agricultural land. I mean, just people. There's not even houses, and we've heard stuff in there. I mean, stuff that is not like a rat. We don't the raccoons, because of our dogs, they kind of stay off of this thing. We've had maybe some squirrels. I mean, you could tell by the noise it was something much bigger, and we've heard it when we've been out and we check it and nothing's there, and we've seen stuff under the those trees down there. Maybe we'll take a walk back there. Let's see. We never know. It's a real disquieting. We had a real disquieting episode one time under that grove because it's very shadowy there. Even in the daytime, you get these deep shadows underneath them because the foliage is so thick. Those are really mature trees, and even in winter, they're pretty full of foliage, and you have very deep pockets of shadow underneath it. So let's see. Let me see, Henry. Let's pan around and see if you could capture. It's very difficult to do it, that lighting. Okay, let's see if over here. Yeah, that's our next door neighbor. And there's a big tree that we have here. Of course, our rooster is giving us some background noise. But you could tell, guys, this is really, really quiet out here. It's extremely quiet. We don't live close to a busy street. In back of us, there's another piece of land which has just groves of trees on it, and the house is way on the other side. So there's no through street. The only one is right in front of and we have a wall separating us, and our house is set well back from the street. So as far as ambient noise that sometimes people mistake when they think something paranormal's going on. Well, you know what? That doesn't apply here. Not really. Believe me, we've gone through every, what can I say? What do you call it? Reasonable explanation for noises and feelings. Well, let's leave the feelings out of it, but noises or things that we've seen. And, once you take all these possibilities that really don't apply because of how the house is situated, then you realize, and like I said, this is an old wooden structure. We know what the normal noises of the creaking, even now with the changing of the seasons, getting a little bit cooler here, we know what the noises of this house are. And we know what doesn't quite belong there. So, as a matter of fact, let's see if, okay, if we could just let's walk back there and let's see if we could find anything. Let's see. Henry, you want to check it out back there?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. Okay, hold on a minute. All right, are we good?
Yeah.
All right, come on, guys. We're gonna take a walk back here. Let's see what we might as well, right? Let's see if we find anything under these groves. Never know. And by the way, we also have, that's another thing that we know that we have a small apiary, that we have some bees back there that border the back of the fence where we're at. You probably can't see them in the darkness, but besides that, there's no through streets. As far as most people are not really eager to jump over into an area that's full of beehives, so, that's another thing, as far as, this is the edge of the grove, and right here, this area, it abuts up next to okay. But you could tell this is really, we keep it clean, even though, the underbrush, that's what I'm saying, when we think we see something that it's not like low-hanging branches, because we usually keep it clean, like I said, but because they're mature trees, they're very leafy. They got a lot of shade, even especially in the middle of the daytime or in the evening, which is one of the last times that we saw something like disturbing. Was here under the groves of these trees. That's another thing. You can't, like I said, it'll show in our daytime. In our daytime shoot, but besides these groves, pretty much this property is clean. I mean, there's no place really for anybody to hide if they, somehow or other they got on our property, which, by the way, I'm not going to say, but it's like, no signs of a break-in, somebody trying to get in here to scare us, because, again, all the reasonable explanations go out the window. I think that's the wind chime from the neighbor next door.
Yeah.
That we just heard. Okay, and if you, from here you pan around and, you can kind of see off in the distance the lights of the house. Okay, and that's like the neighbors over there. And let's keep on going over here and let's see what we come up with. By the way, if I kind of look like raggedy, we've had a long day. We've been, because we did vlogging from the earlier part of the day, because we found that when you have the intentions of doing some type of investigation, regardless of it's something from your personal home, incidents start happening. It's like the paranormal, the spirit, whatever you want to call it, the spirit world is aware, and things start happening. And I know a lot of paranormal investigators agree with me. The thing is that a lot of times you just don't have your camera, your equipment with you when you're getting ready, or even a day before, to capture some of the stuff. It's stuff that people talk about. They'll say, when I was getting ready to go out to that investigation already, this stuff started happening. So we started vlogging earlier today while we were going around doing our things, as to all the incidents. As a matter of fact, one of the things that I had was I had an SD card that just basically fried. When I was, and it was a brand new SD card that I had used maybe a couple of times. As a matter of fact, I was transferring some files off of it so that I could have some stuff to go ahead and. Okay, yeah, that's the neighbor's wind chime. All right, so let's keep going. Come on, Henry. So. And again, I'm going to point out, this is really quiet out here. Even way out here. And this is the norm. So whether our windows would be open or windows are closed or the air conditioning, depending on the temperature outside, my point is that when you hear some type of noise, whether it's coming from inside the house or maybe right outside the window, you hear it. You hear it. It's not like displaced noise from some other source that, no. You right, Henry? When we hear stuff,
Yeah.
We're like, okay, what was that?
Yeah, it gets creepy out here.
Yeah. You can hear things very, very easily that normally when you live in a city where you've got more neighbors and more ambient noise, or you've got traffic outside your door or your neighbor, people pull up, it just either drowns out the noise, or you just think you say, oh, it was the neighbor or whatever, or the cat. Or we don't have cats either out here. That doesn't hold. That just does not hold. Okay, so yeah, so far so good. Also, I'm hoping that not only because of the videotaping, but at some point that when we go back and we look over this tape, maybe we've even captured some EVP, because believe it or not, a lot of people traditionally think that paranormal investigators only catch EVPs on the recorders, on the digital recorders. Be surprised, EVPs can show up in any type of recording, including video taped. Plus, I have another camera here, another smaller camera that I'm using as well. And basically, any type of camera or recording device that you have can pick up an EVP. It's not just the digital stuff. You just have to be there looking for it. So when I do all of this, I'm hoping that we're going to. Here we've got some insects. You can hear them chirping. Okay. Okay, we've kind of taken, I don't know, let's get a little bit closer. You can see off to the distance over here, we've got our apiary. We have a small apiary. Okay, let's take a turn. Let's come over here to this side, Henry. And the house is off in the distance. I know you can hardly tell because it's kind of far off, and like I said, there's hardly any lighting, but it's way off there. Again, his point of reference right there. That's part of our neighbor. Well, that was another thing. He decided to put in his big floodlights, like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, when all of a sudden we saw an uptick, and we thought it was really weird that he spent a lot of money because he put a floodlight That's like a commercial floodlight, right, Henry?
Yeah, like a stadium light.
Stadium light here and in the front part of the yard. It coincided with when we saw it, and he said something kind of funny to you about, oh, I heard somebody or saw somebody, or
Yeah, yeah.
and at that point we were like, okay, you know, he hasn't been living here that long. Like what, like a year only?
About that, about a year.
Okay. Just to give us, I wanted to also give you guys a little bit of background about our property. It just so happens that the owner of this property, of this house, who built this house, he originally owned all the land around here. He had come down from Ohio. He became a farmer around the turn of the century. He came a little bit afterwards. And this was all groves. He had that house that we live in, and the little house next door was his garage. And this gentleman, he passed away in the 1940s, and his family afterwards, his kids, that's when they divvied up the land, and they sold it off. And then a lot of these people live here, have like this owners, a lot of them have lived from the 1940s or 1960s. And as a matter of fact, this neighbor over here that we said that moved in here like about a year ago, the lady that lived there, she had lived there since the 1940s with her husband. Okay, and she passed away like 3 years already or something like that. 3 years ago, 2 years ago, she passed away. She had lived there since the 1940s with her husband. I think she had, I don't know, did she die in the house or something like that?
Yeah, in
or
the house.
In the house. And then, you know, they came and they bought the property, and they
No,
fixed it.
actually, she drove herself to the beauty salon, and she died. Going there.
Okay, something like that. It was like,
Yeah.
that's right, beauty salon thing. Which was kind of cute. She was very old, and she was still going to the beauty salon. Good for her. But anyway, and then her children, none of them, they live out of state. They sold the house, and these people bought it. They fixed it, and now they live in it. You know, but there's a lot of history also with the land, even though we don't think that it's land attachment. We don't discount it. We think it's usually the vehicle. The vehicle is the source of what's going on around the house. But anyway, like I said, this is a 100-year-old house. The owner, he used to basically own all this property. Of course, back then, this was when the Florida land boom, and Florida land at that time was very, very inexpensive. People were coming down here to start up orange groves, avocado groves, pineapples. I mean, there was a lot of, believe it or not, one of the things I've heard, the agriculture here with the 1926 unnamed hurricane that blew in through here, just like Andrew did, and it kind of like really hurt the farmers and brought in the Great Depression a little bit sooner to this area. I saw something move over there.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what?
Yeah. Shit.
You know what? It's been a really long day, guys.
Yeah. Let's get out of here.
And I was talking to you guys, and I thought I caught something out of the corner of my eye, like walking from left to right across the field. And it's only because of that ambient light from our neighbor's yard that I kind of saw something.
Yeah, I saw it too, but I wasn't sure.
Right. Well, no, I caught it like when I was swinging my head around. I saw it. You know. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna keep talking. Maybe if I act like I'm not paying attention, we'll get something, right?
Yeah,
You never know. There's the wind chimes from the neighbor. That's just, we want to debunk any possible. that's the neighbor's wind chimes going off. So anyway. I'm a native Miamian, which means if it dips below 70, I'm freezing. Okay. So anyway, sorry, you got the slippers on. You know, there is history. There is history to this land, this area. Obviously, because of the people that have lived here, natural disasters, and in particular, this plot of land. Because, like I said, this gentleman, he basically moved into the area with a Florida land boom. He purchased or lived temporarily at what was then a little small general interesting stuff that goes on out here in this part of South Florida called the Redlands. And like I said, some of the actual farming community out here kind of even predates or runs parallel to the establishment of the city of Miami, even though it was further out west here. This is where people farm. There's a lot of interesting stories, urban myths that we're going to explore. But right now, I'm trying to figure out who is that tall man that's walking on the porch and not letting his car stop. Like I said, despite me talking to you guys, I have been keeping my eyes open. I have been listening to things. Let's go over to the shed a minute, Henry.
Let's go.
See if we can, you know.
Last time we saw something coming by the side of the shed, remember?
Yeah, we did. Okay, even though it said that it doesn't even have a door. It's dry, so we keep a lot of our little things in there. Nothing really important. But if you could tell, it's not really that far from the back carport area of the house, which, like I said, we have our washing machine and our dryer out there and some other stuff. So especially later on in the evening when you come out and you hear thumping and crap going on in here, it's like, I mean, if that was a rat, I'd hate to meet the rat that could make that noise. So we know it's not a rat.
And it's not big animals because we have big dogs, so nothing goes in there. So it has to be.
Yeah. Okay, and we've never had the chickens per se disturbed. You know, as far as if it was some type of animal that was coming in here. No, that's not it either. So, yeah. So anyway, let's take a quick look over here, and before we go back in there, maybe you never know if we see or we capture anything.
Careful.
Yeah. As you can tell, this is what we've gotten there is just like a lot of like just knickknacks and little stuff that we keep that we don't use, that's seasonal. Come on, let's take a look over here on the side. Okay, so again, we're still trying to like, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I'm going to beat it anyway. Guys, if you see or hear anything, when you see this video, please let us know. Because just never know what the source is going to be for an answer. You know, like I said, maybe somebody sees something off in the corner, or you know, some people are just really good at that. They just see things where everybody else just misses it. No. Be careful.
Careful with the hose.
Yeah. That would be wonderful now, wouldn't it?
Yeah, right?
Okay, so anyway, we're gonna go ahead and run a little bit inside the house. You guys can see a little bit inside the porch here. And of course there's the car there. You know. And you can tell this car is parked right in front of the house. It's right in the very front of the house.
See?
Okay, and it's a front entrance, and you know, it's almost like I said, even though we had seen things previously here in the front, it's like now it's scaled up and you just see a lot more. Whether it was just not visible before, now it is, and you know, we're gonna do a separate show because Henry had a friend of his that he met from New York or New Jersey who came and helped him work on this car, and we're gonna have another show where Henry's gonna explain some of the things that he came like a couple of times to help you work on it, right, Henry?
Yeah, he was very nice of him to come, and
but then he said something to you that you were like, and he had no idea. He did not know any history about this car or what had happened.
He said that he felt something about the car.
Yeah, but you know what? We're gonna go more in depth because it was something that at the beginning this guy was a little bit like, he didn't want to like comment on it.
No, 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 no. He was like really nervous about it.
Okay, so let's see. This is, you can tell this is the wraparound porch. Okay. And yeah, I have my office up here. I have my front windows, so sometimes, I mean, as far as visibility, we can see what's going on. And we have our little dogs going crazy. They ran away. We haven't been paying attention to them. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoy this video. And you're gonna come back. We're gonna have other interesting guests and other interesting shows, but sometimes you find yourself right in the middle of your own drama. This is one of them. So thanks for joining us, and again, give us any feedback, good, bad, or absolutely if you see anything on here. All right, see you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
So, what did you think? Got a little bit scared? It's okay. You know what? At the end of the day, when you work with the paranormal, it's good to laugh about things or to get that sudden rush of adrenaline and just, it's serious but not serious. And I think a lot of times people get carried away when you're working with the paranormal and in scary stuff that, we get all caught up in the drama of it. And the truth is that a lot of times you got to laugh things up or get a little bit of a scare to put things in perspective. But anyway, um, please let me know if you would like for me to post up any follow-ups that we have regarding the situation with the IROC. Okay, because I have contacted other people that have dealt with haunted objects. Okay, um, like I said, this by no means is done yet. It's not. Also, please subscribe to my channel, like this video. If you want notifications, hit that bell so that you're aware of when I post anything up. And effective, as a matter of fact, I just finished doing it today. I recorded this great interview with Kalila Smith, who's an author and a paranormal investigator. She's a psychic medium. She's worked for a lot of years in New Orleans, and she's got a lot of great stories about all the historical places there in New Orleans, her own personal experiences, both as an author, as a psychic, which she's doing a lot of that work now herself. It's a great interview. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it just as much as I did. So please, that's going to be my next video after this one. And I got a lot of interesting people coming up. So again, I really enjoyed producing this video. And I hope you come back every week. I hope you share your insight on anything. Like I said, if you like the video, if you want to see more of it, whatever the case might be. But either way, please make sure to join me every week, and so I can produce stuff that you like to see. And I'll be seeing you then. Take care. Have a great week.